we all love stories, listening to stories and telling stories. Sometimes the stories are good, delightful, entertaining. Sometimes they are creepy stories. Now,
Yes.
welcome, welcome to Oral Tradition and another adventure in Guyanese literature. With
Yes.
me is the author of They Exist. They Exist,
Yes.
Mahindra Ragubir. Welcome to the
Mhm.
program, Mahindra.
You're very welcome, Mr. Pinter, to give me this opportunity.
It's my pleasure.
Mhm.
I start by saying we like telling stories. Now,
Yes.
these are creepy stories that we will talk moonlight night, sitting in a hammock
Mhm.
in the back down and things like that.
Yes.
Why have you put them
Mhm.
in a book form? Why have you compiled them in a
Well,
book form?
yes, yes. Okay, well, these stories, I've been telling them from ever since because, like few story in the book, they are my own experience. They are true. Like four stories that I've written there, they are my own experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot, I've seen Bigfoot. And the one at Blackfish Boulder with the murder, the one I know about. There are two more other stories. And when I was bitten by a black cat, that's another story happened to me. And the other stories from my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and these stories you always hear in Guyana, like Fire Ras, Baku, and all these, like, I think it's 10 stories that I put in the book.
Uh-huh.
I try compile all of them in one way. So, Guyanese people, you will hear when you go to somewhere drinking or something, people will talk one story. You go somewhere else, some people mention another one. So I try to put it together that a Guyanese person or anybody who is interested to learn about the one and thing that could be true. My experience are true, but the one that I hear from my family,
Uh-huh.
maybe there is a doubt or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
these things,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know that. I like to talk about more than the stories. I like to
yes.
talk about the illustrations in this book. You've done the
Hmm.
illustrations for this book. The
Yes.
Sadhu, the Baku, Fairas,
Right.
Churail, and all
Uh,
those things. Let's talk about those
yeah.
that art form first. Have you always been
Yes.
drawing?
Yes, as growing up, I had liked to draw, but I could never pursue it like in the field. When it's only when I came to America here now then I start back to paint. And you have seen recently some of my paintings.
Yes.
I usually post one. I think I posted one yesterday,
Yeah.
and with the Bakru one, I just did them. Like the stories in my head, and that's how I did them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Great.
a pitch. Mm.
Let's go to your
Mhm.
boyhood days. Um, where did you grow up?
Yes.
Where did you hear some of these
Well,
stories?
well, I was born in Letterkenny, Berbice, and I grew up like my first like 7 years. I grew up in Bloomfield, and from there we moved. My father had just built a big house there, and then from there we moved to Blackbush when Jagan was given out land there. And my early years, like from 8 to 12, then I came back out to Bloomfield to go to high school. So I
Mm.
spent like about 6 years in Blackbush Schooler, back and forth. We were back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And these stories I heard from my grandfather. Like my grandfather told us quite a few stories, my Aja and my Nana.
Uh-huh.
And I heard some of the stories from my mother-in-law and father-in-law from Chesney Village and, and things like that.
Hmm, hmm. Where
Yes.
where would you normally gather to
Mhm.
talk these stories? Any special place?
Any no, but mostly when you're taking a few drinks with friends, something like that. Yeah, they want to hear some stories.
Yeah.
And my son is the one who pushed me to write the book. He said, "Dad, why don't you put it in a book form that people could read it? They might find it interesting."
Mhm.
And to find all the stories that you hear in Guyana, like Fire Ass, Churail, Baku, and you put them in one form that people were interested, like they could see a little insight into it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Mhm.
What is the most intriguing story that you have written down here? Which one that
The little
excites
Dutch,
the?
the little Dutch. Mhm.
Okay, you want to give us a little piece of that story?
Yeah, but the little Dutch boy was told by me by a coworker when I was working in Albion Estate. And he told me the story when he was a child, and he was way older than me. First, when they went to catch Hassa, and there was an old cemetery there, he found a little piece, a ceramic, like a little horse,
Uh huh.
and he brought it with his father, and that's where they were being possessed. But then you got to remember, Indian people of Indian origin, they always mix it up with Dutchman, and some people, I don't know if they do like in wedding and thing, they do these kind of sacrifice where they do pig work and things, but it's not. It's evil spirit. They're actually doing it, and it will come back to haunt you. And where they kill the two. I was a boy when the one son died, and then the other son. They had a lady from the village. She came quick, and they did the pig work. So these things do happen
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
that little Dutch by the whole story is written here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that was one of my first stories, the little Dutch. And then after that, the murder at Blackwood Folder, where the guy killed his wife.
yeah. Mm.
That's another story. Chop off. We were at school and he did that. He chopped her head off.
Oh my, that's gruesome.
It's very gruesome. We as kids, we were coming from school and the people were just pulling us aside because it's like those are shallow wells.
Uh-huh.
From the earth, the water just coming out and you could see the blood all over. They had just covered the body and the body was right there. But the lady turned into an evil spirit. He was haunting the whole street.
Mhm. I see you also have the Baku here also. And
Yeah, Baku was my father-in-law's story. He told me that. And this story, if you go at number 70 village, you could see these mango trees are still there today. At the seawall, huge mango trees. And this was planted according to my father-in-law, his daddy. They planted those trees and like that. He said that experience. I don't know how true, but he gave me that story about the Baku.
there are different
But it was
versions.
yes,
There are
they said
different
the Baku
versions.
usually.
Ah,
Mhm. Okay.
I'm saying there are different versions of the Baku. Right? What is your version in
Yes.
this book? Uh-huh.
This book is just that the guys they went out to fishing in the ocean and they found the barco floating. And by opening the barco, they free the Dutch the barco. This barco was from Suriname it came. And it in one way it helped the good guy and it destroyed the wicked guy. And towards the end of the story, the good guy released it back of its service.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
You wanted this?
Yes.
I think you've done an illustration of the Baku. You wanted to
Yeah.
describe the Baku for us?
Well, yes, the Baku, if you in Irish mythology, the leprechaun
Uh huh.
is something like that. It's a very the leprechaun in Irish stories. So it's like a short person, but with very evil intention. If you do what they want to do, they can be beneficial to what I heard. Like if you give them banana and milk and you keep the area clean where they're residing, and you ask for a certain thing, they can grant it to you. And you could, once you're taking care of the Baku will do what you want them to do. Like if you hate somebody or somebody is doing you wrong, you could let the Baku go and show himself to those persons in
Uh,
the evil way.
uh, uh. Why am I naming these, selecting these because we are familiar with these. The
Yeah,
Watamama. What about the Watamama? Is
yes,
that the same thing like the fair maid or the mermaid that you used to talk about?
yeah, exactly. And this is one of my brother experience. The older brother, he's
Uh-huh.
about 85. He's still alive today. But when Tapuma plays in, I don't know, we were small at that time. He went there to work in very, I probably was 5 years old. And he had this experience staying in a Amerindian village life where they were doing this project, something they were doing, working with the government.
Tapakuma
And he had that,
Canal. The Tapakuma Canal.
yes,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I believe so, yes. So that's where they were working. And there was a lake there. And he said this story was told to him by the priest, or what they call it. I forgot the name. What they call it. The head of the,
The
the,
sh-
the, the tribe there.
yeah, the shaman. The shaman. Okay.
The shamans. And then some white guys were in Guyana. They went there to investigate, and they saw it. That they didn't see it physically, but they see like different signs. They were in a boat, probably in a lake, saying that is the arapaima, a big fish, but
Wow.
like a largest water fish. But it wasn't the fish. They see like the movement and everything, and they come to the conclusion that the watermama does exist.
Uh, and another familiar one is the Chirail.
Hmm.
The Chirail.
Yes,
Let's talk about the
yes.
Chirail. Because a lot of people,
The churral is,
right, there are different versions also.
yes, the churral. The churral was told to me by my mother-in-law, and this story happened in Chesney, Albion, by the factory here. But it happened when she was very young, also. Like the first descendant from the people that came from India, like her parents. And this thing happened during that time with a pregnant, Churail usually in our Hindu stories, that's a Churail is like a woman who was about to give birth and she and the baby died. Then you become a Churail. So this was a king, caught a wife, and they were very poor, and she died in birth. Where one child survived and one died in her, and she became a Churail. And they had to do all the Hindu rituals and things like that, and forgetting to put those talisman, little dolls. You remember when you put some dolls in the coffin? Or, you know, um, those little dolls, you'll put like 7 dolls or so in the coffin. They
That,
didn't do that.
okay, okay.
Yes, and when they bury her, the spirit was still there hunting the guy. She come in the night and cook the food and does everything with her legs. It's very scary. She will cook the food until the guy found out. If my mom is not cooking the food, then who is cooking the food? And one night he saw her, and then he decided to move from there.
Wow.
So these things, yeah, they does exist. If you believe in them,
Let's talk now about the book.
yeah.
The writing, uh,
Hmm.
which takes time and patience and all of that, and then the publishing.
Hmm.
Let's talk about that process.